Welcome. It is the 14th of December 2025. You're tuned to Sunday Express as we inch closer to the festivities. So you're reminded to find your loved ones, do your bills that you have, and also pick people who are as loyal to your cause as you are. This is Sunday Express, and tonight we're going to be tackling gender-based violence, but now through art. I have a sample here. There you go. And the artist is joining us in studio to just have a conversation on how else can we create awareness, advocacy, and justice for those survivors and victims of gender-based violence. But before we get to the heart of the matter tonight on Sunday Express, let's give you a sneak peek of those stories that have been making headlines in the last 12 hours.
Transformation to the first world. President William Ruto says the cabinet will convene on Monday to approve the National Infrastructure Fund.
Hivi karibuni nitakuwa mdosi wa hapa Kiambu.
Mimi ndio sitting governor wa county ya Kiambu. Mimi ndio governor to be wa Kiambu. Don't be in doubt in your mind.
Battle lines drawn. Kiambu County Governor Kimani Wamatangi and Thika Town Member of Parliament Alice Nganga declare gubernatorial intentions. And new tools to fight GBV. Activists unleash the power of art in holding policymakers accountable and protecting victims.
Good evening. This is Sunday Express. I'm Regina Manyara and my colleague is Byron Abuli on sign language. Now we start off with rather, dull information where 8 people, among them 2 minors under the age of 2, were killed in a tragic road accident at the Brwani Tombe area between Erkerenyo and Ikonge town along the Kisii Kericho Highway, Nyamira County. The Saturday night crash involved a Nairobi-bound passenger shuttle and a trailer. Occurred at around 8 p.m., leaving families devastated and several others fighting for their lives in hospital. Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo says his administration has established a special committee to coordinate immediate assistance for the survivors and families of those who lost their loved ones.
These are the remains of the passenger shuttle that was ferrying travelers from Nairobi, now reduced to a mangled wreck after a deadly collision along the Kisii Kericho Road. Police say the accident occurred Saturday night at Bwaarani Tombe area when a trailer veered off its lane and rammed into the oncoming matatu. 8 people were killed on the spot, among them 2 children under the age of 2.
Yesterday we received casualties from the accident that occurred at Ekerenyo. 8 lives were lost. 5 are currently admitted at our ICU. 2 are in our accident and emergency department. Our doctors really tried very hard to save lives. We really thank them for their effort. As a hospital, we have the capacity to manage the patients, but there are 2 who require neurosurgical intervention. We are referring them for further management.
The matatu driver also died instantly, while the trailer driver reportedly fled the scene and is now being sought by police. At the Nyamira County Referral Hospital, the pain is raw. Families gather in disbelief, struggling to come to terms with a sudden loss.
Nimepoteza msichana yangu anaitwa Purity Kiambu. Alisafiri kwenda Nairobi kusalimia makazini zake. Alikuwa anateremka jana. Ilikuwa Jumamosi kuja kusalimia mama yake nyumbani. Alifika Kerenyo kupanda juu akapata accident.
Tuko na majosi kubwa sana. Na ile kitu nasema kama hii msimu wa Krismasi, tafadhali madriver mkuwe makini sana, mjue mnabeba maisha ya watu.
Ikona ni mbaya sana.
ni mbaya kusema kweli kabisa. Hapa ni mbaya, imesachukua watu. Serikali tu ione njia itasaidia hapa tinga ya rani boisa ndio waokoe maisha ya watu.
Meanwhile, bodies of the deceased have since been moved to the hospital mortuary as grieving relatives continue to gather. Nyamira Governor Amos Nyaribo visited the hospital Sunday morning to condole with the affected families and assess the condition of survivors.
I'll form a small committee which will be liaising with the affected families so that we see how we can work together.
As investigations into the cause of the crash continue, authorities say action will be taken to prevent further loss of life along the busy highway. Doreen Arange for Sunday Express.
It's barely a day after former Member of Parliament Cyrus Jirongo was actually involved in a fatal crash there. At NTSA, they've said that Kenyans, pedestrians and motorists need to observe road safety laws and rules to avert further losses on our roads. Now, President William Ruto will convene a cabinet meeting on Monday, the 15th of December this year, to approve the National Infrastructure Fund, as Kenya formally begins a transformation from a developing nation to first world status. The fund will be used to mobilize 5 trillion shillings to finance large development projects across the country. President Ruto made the announcement at IPCA Gatondo North Diocese, Karure, Kiambu County, where he attended Sunday service.
During his visit to Kiambu County on Sunday, President William Ruto inspected the ongoing construction of the AIPCA Karure Cathedral of Grace and undertook to support its completion. The head of state noting the important role churches play in promoting social cohesion, moral values and community development.
Vile tumeona umoja katika kanisa la AIPCA, mimi nawaomba ndugu zangu watu wa Kiambu, viongozi wetu wa Kiambu, na wasihi na waomba tuwe na umoja vile vile.
Addressing congregants and local leaders, President Ruto said the process of Kenya's elevation to first world status is in motion.
Kesho ndio tunaanza rasmi ile safari niliwaambia ya kubadilisha hii Kenya itoke third world iende first world. Kesho tunapitisha hazina maalum ya National Infrastructure Fund ambaye tutatumia kuokota pesa shilingi trilioni 5 ya kubadilisha hii nchi. And we are not joking, my friends. Hii nchi hii lazima ibadilike.
The head of state assured Kenya's transformation is progressing steadily across all 47 counties, with development initiatives being implemented to spur economic growth and create opportunities for wananchi. The president added that in Kiambu County, the government has invested more than 4.5 billion shillings in the construction of 30 modern markets in under 3 years.
Hapa Kiambu tumeweka pesa 48 billion in Kiambu County. 40 billion ya affordable housing, 4.5 billion ya masoko yenu, and another 3.2 billion ya mambo ya hostels ya vijana wasomi wa hapa Kiambu County.
Later, President Ruto inspected construction progress at the 380 million shillings Kamwangi Modern Market in Gatundu North, Karure.
Si walisema masoko haiwezekani? Soko ndio hii ama iko hapa? Si walisema affordable housing haiwezekani? Kiambu County leo tuko na manyumba tunajenga 17,000.
The facility is expected to be completed by March 2026 and will accommodate more than 1,500 traders. Mariambo reporting for Sunday Express.
Still on the same venue, gubernatorial succession politics took center stage at the IPCA Gatondo North Diocese in Karure, Kiambu County between area governor Kimani Wamatangi and Thika Town Member of Parliament Alice Nganga.
What started as an ordinary Sunday service at AIPCA Gatundu North Diocese in Karure, Kiambu County soon turned into a battle for the county's top seat. When called to address congregants, Thika Town lawmaker Alice Nganga used the opportunity to reiterate her interest in becoming governor of Kiambu County in 2027.
Sisi tuko na raha siku ya leo kwa sababu mimi hivi karibuni nitakuwa mdosi wa hapa Kiambu. Hapa wananiita mama. Mama Simba oe. Mama Simba oe. Mama Simba.
The statement received a loud endorsement from Gatundu North Member of Parliament Elijah Njoroge.
Ati Kiambu. Kwa hivyo mnamaanisha yeye ni incoming governor. Basi wacha niwaitie outgoing governor. Kimani wa Matangi, wachi governor kuja uongee na watu.
Governor Kimani Wamatangi was quick to reassure Kiambu residents of his unwavering commitment to service delivery, even as he seeks re-election.
Saa zingine unajua simba akitulia anaonekana kama ni paka vile walivyosema, Your Excellency. Lakini sisi tuko sawa, Your Excellency. Na hii kazi tutaendelea naye, Your Excellency. 2027 siasa itajipanga na tutakuwa humo na Kororia. Mimi ndio sitting governor wa county ya Kiambu. Mimi ndio governor to be wa Kiambu. Don't be in doubt in your mind. Wana Kiambu hoye! Wana Kiambu hoye! Wangapi wako na Wamatangi hoye! Tuone kwa mikono wenye wako na Wamatangi. Haya basi, kama uko na taswishi ujue governor ambaye yako na anakuja ni mgani.
Hiyo siasa ndogo haiwezi kusaidia sisi katika Wakenya. Na uchaguzi hauko hapa kesho. Sisi tunaelewa uchaguzi. Mimi Mheshimiwa Rais nimefanya 6. Na ningali akili yangu iko sawa. Mimi nataka niombe utusamehe kwa tabia hiyo unaona hapa. Kwa sababu sisi saa ingine upenda siasa sana watu ya Kiambu, na kanisa mtusamehe.
The succession politics got the attention of the head of state, who rose to calm the political temperatures. President William Ruto urged Kiambu residents to vote wisely when the time comes.
Mjipange na uchaguzi wa UDA kwanza, alafu hiyo ingine kila mtu achaguliwe kulingana na ile kazi amefanya. Si ndio? Hakuna mtu atachaguliwa hivi hivi. Hakuna mtu atachaguliwa kwa sababu yeye ni hodari na matusi. Hakuna mtu atachaguliwa kwa sababu yeye anajua sana ati kupiganisha watu. Hapana. Tunataka tuunganishe wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
Kimani Wamatangi will be seeking a second mandate, while Nganga, the Thika Town MP since 2013, will be out to make history as the first woman governor of Kiambu County. And as the countdown to the 2027 general election continues, it is up to the electorate to decide who their new county boss will be. Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Now from Kiambu, we'll be taking a quick breather, but to remind you, we're going to be focusing on gender-based violence. This is a 16 days of activism, and the statistics are quite grim, with the latest reports indicating at least 40% of women in Kenya have experienced physical or sexual violence from an intimate partner during the lifetime. So what are stakeholders doing to create awareness, build capacity, and also advocacy? Tonight, we're going to be looking at what art can do in that particular space. We'll be right back.
Was to get rid of us so that we won't find out about his relationship with Lucia. You're wrong. She destroyed my life. On the contrary, let me tell you that I saw Marcella first and not her.
Why are you so interested in knowing?
Because that darn woman abused the trust that we gave her when we had her in our house. And she's the one who killed the person that's very dear to all of us.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Express. I'm Regina Manyara. Now let's get this going. Now the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, has confiscated suspected counterfeit alcoholic beverages valued at approximately 3 million shillings and arrested one suspect in Narok County. NACADA Deputy Director for Corporate Affairs Simon Mwangi and Narok Central Deputy County Commissioner Kenneth Mwangombe said the operation, conducted jointly with security agencies, followed a tip-off from members of the public.
The multi-agency operation saw the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, together with the armed security officers, raid residential houses and shops in Narok Central. NACADA Deputy Director for Corporate Affairs Simon Mwangi and Narok Central Deputy County Commissioner Kenneth Mwangome said they managed to recover more than 200 cartons of alcohol valued at 3 million shillings with counterfeit Kenya Revenue Authority excise stamps.
We have in our custody alcohol that is suspected to be counterfeit. We have already established that some of this alcohol contains very fake KRA stamps.
Mwangi warned that enforcement operations will be intensified during the festive season.
So we will upscale this festive season crackdowns. We are not relenting, and anybody who's dealing in this illegal business is going to face the full wrath of the law.
Tunashukuru wale wananchi ambao wameweza kutupatia habari kuweza kushika hii shehena hapa pombe haramu.
He further advised members of the public to scan the KRA code using the Soma Label mobile application to verify the authenticity of an alcoholic drink before purchasing. The arrested suspect will be arraigned in court on Monday as investigations continue. Tilio Marco for Sunday Express.
As we are getting into the festive season, do use that particular QR code scanner to verify if it is what it is that you are consuming is as per standard. Now, it is a race against time as a family of 1-year-old Curtis Otieno as they seek financial support to facilitate an urgent liver transplant in India. According to his mother, Leah Oricho, Curtis, who was diagnosed with biliary atresia, is a childhood disease affecting the liver and bile duct, needs at least 3 million shillings to undergo the life-saving procedure.
Curtis Otieno was born in Kayole, Nairobi County on Wednesday, November 27, 2024, to Charles Owino and Leah Oricho, the youngest of 4 siblings. His medical journey started when he was 3 weeks old after his mother, Leah, noticed he was gasping for breath. Baby Curtis was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was diagnosed with jaundice.
So on reaching the hospital, they did the first aid, then they realized that the boy was jaundiced. He had yellow eyes. So we were transferred to Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, where we were admitted in December last year. We were in hospital for 4 days. He was treated for jaundice.
However, even after he was discharged, his health kept deteriorating, and after a month he was taken back to Mama Lucy Hospital before being referred to Kenya. It was here that medical practice biliary
and at Kenyatta biliary atresia, condition that affects the gallbladder. So we stayed at Kenyatta for around 2 months. They did a surgery on him, a procedure called the Kasai procedure, but unfortunately it wasn't successful. So later on we were advised to opt for a liver transplant, which unfortunately was not available at Kenyatta. So we were told to make arrangements for his treatment in India.
The condition can only be cured through a liver transplant.
Yes, the doctor advised us that it should be done before 1 year, but we were not able to manage it. even as at now, still not yet. We contacted a hospital in India called Fortis Hospital, Noida. So they gave us a quotation of 23,500 USD, which translates to Kenya shillings 3 million and some hundreds Ju.
Leah, a trained teacher, was forced to quit her job, leaving Charles as the only breadwinner.
To any well-wisher or anyone who might be touched by my story, kindly requesting to assist us in raising the money to take the boy for the life-saving treatment, because we were told that without the transplant, he might not live more than 2 years.
To help baby Curtis undergo the life-saving procedure, you can channel your contribution via M-Pesa to pay bill number 8024172. Account name is the sender's name. Kasichana Marsha, Sunday Express.
You know, it is said that a hand that is giving, open to give, is also very ready to receive. So if you want to actually, you know, secure that 1-year-old life, baby Curtis, your contribution will be highly appreciated. The M-Pesa pay bill number is 8024172. Your account name is the sender's name. If you are interested in further details, you can get an update on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. 2424172 to support baby Curtis. Now to politics. Wiper Patriotic Front leader Kalonzo Musyoka has faulted the government's plans to regulate religious organizations. Speaking at Gospel Tabernacle Worship Center South B, Nairobi County, Kalonzo said the opposition will oppose any legislative proposal seeking to control churches. Meanwhile, a section of leaders from Mount Kenya East has declared its intention to chart a separate political path from their counterparts in Mount Kenya West.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka attended a church service at Gospel Tabernacle Worship Center South B, Nairobi, where he joined the clergy in opposing the proposed religious organization bill that seeks to regulate houses of worship.
The church that prayed this administration into office is now shaking under the weight of the administration's misrule. I remember some of these friends were opposed to this constitution, but we went ahead and got Constitution 2010, which now guarantees the freedom of worship. So you cannot attempt to limit that freedom.
Elsewhere in Kiambu County, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Rocco and Area Governor Cecily Mbarire declared Mount Kenya East must chart its own political destiny and free itself from narratives that do not reflect the region's interests and their development priorities.
Tuko na serikali na tuko na rais ambao wanatusikiza. Kama wewe Rigiji na watu yako mnataka ukaa nje ya serikali, mkae nje ya serikali. Lakini sisi watu wa Meru, wa Embu, wa Tharaka Nithi, tutakaa ndani ya hii serikali na tutakaa ndani ya serikali ambayo inakuja.
To chart our own political destiny as a region. We have a deputy president who is a member of our region with our professor Idure Kitiki, ambaye tunamwambia yeye ni fire.
The two leaders also dismissed Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagwa's plan to turn Mount Kenya residents against President William Ruto and his government.
Wewe Rigiji na watu yako, please, lazima tuheshimiane. Sisi si wa Kikuyu. We don't speak Kikuyu, we speak Kimbere. Our tradition and customs of the people of Meru, of the people of Tharaka Nithi, of the people of Embu are different from your tradition and customs.
Elsewhere, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, in a speech read on his behalf by former Nakuru County Governor Kenneth Ambogwa, is calling upon the church to continue praying for the state as it heads to the 2027 general elections.
He asked me that I also pass the same message, the message of unity. He asked me also to pass it to you. For the church, he appreciates that this church is full of unity.
And Kenya One Party parliamentary candidate in the recently held Malava constituency by-election, Wilberforce Tuvei, has pledged to support newly elected Member of Parliament David Ndakwa in serving the residents of the area.
We want just to make sure that our people get what they voted for, and they voted for development, and I hope he can be able to deliver the dream of the people of Malava.
He spoke during a Thanksgiving ceremony held at his home in Mutingongo village. Gishuki Washira, Sunday Express.
Away from politics, it is said that art is the most powerful language when words are ignored. Art is a medium that conveys various emotions, and in advocacy, art can communicate pain, anger, and truth straight to the conscience of those in power. Reproductive rights experts and advocates, anti-gender-based violence activists and artists have deliberately chosen art to spotlight the lived realities of women and girls as the country marked this year's culmination of the 16 days of activism against GBV. The Center for Reproductive Rights says this is a disconnect between policy and implementation, which largely remains in the weakest link in ending sexual violence.
Different pieces of art strategically placed, each demanding a pose, but they are more than an aura of beauty. These drawings carry the deepest of expressions, depicting both strength, resilience, and tears of pain. Among those moving slowly through the exhibition is Sarah, not her real name. She's a survivor of a botched abortion that has continued to cause her great pain.
Nilienda kwa wale daktari Makwak, sikuwa na pesa, nikalipa 700. So after 1 week ndio nilijua sasa mambo imeharibika. Kwenda Kenyatta nikaambiwa vile nipigwa scan, akaniambia mpaka niende theater. Lakini vile nitoka sasa nikapata nimefanya operation ati uterus imeenda, ilikuwa imeharibika.
She now uses her experience to champion access to safe reproductive health services.
Huko ghetto ni abortion. Huku ni safe abortion. Unaona? Ikwe wake kama msumeno sheria. Ikwe huku na huko. Kama ona sema mambo ya safe abortion ikwe hivyo. Juu watu wengi wanaumia ni huko ghetto.
Artists whose works are on display say their intentions is to give faces to social issues and present art as a tool of fighting for justice.
Giving a voice to the people without necessarily putting their face out in public, because sometimes when you're associated with a story, you might face some stigma. And at the same time, you want your story to be out there to prevent the same thing happening to other people.
Somebody has been abused, right? Like they have no way of dealing with it, right? They feel, powerless.
Held to mark the end of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, the paintings serve as a memory and a call to action.
The emotional and psychological impact that nobody talks about. We call them the invisible wounds. Telling our stories as raw as they are, either using poetry or using visual art, is our way to express and tell our story, and perhaps tell the duty bearers, state officials, that this is the impact of what happens when you don't actually implement the laws or really put in place policies and processes that would allow for access to services, access to information, and access to ensure that, remedies for those victims of sexual violence.
Organizers say the art reflects a troubling truth, as laws and policies largely exist only on paper.
Children made pregnant by adults are survivors of sexual violence. When we talk about teen pregnancy, please have that as the magnitude of sexual violence in this country.
We are not doing very well in Kenya. There's progress in law and policy, but there's a disconnect in what is happening in practice. We still have numbers increasing of women and girls experiencing in gender-based violence. The number of unsafe abortions documented every year is increasing rather than reducing.
This, even as digital violence is said to be on the rise.
And AI is beginning to use not just as a useful tool, but it's actually beginning to manifest as a way of a challenge to promoting women's rights and girls. And the same is the manosphere. The increase of the culture of, misogyny, those that dislike women, is beginning to have an expression and having an impact.
It is time we talk
upfront and we talk robustly around the question of safe abortion, access to safe abortion, so that we do not leave survivors of sexual violence with no remedy and then they resort to unsafe means to terminate pregnancies they do not want. Already the law allows and recognizes that safe abortion is a medical remedy.
As the campaigns on 16 days of activism against GBV close, reproductive rights are message carried through color and texture will not only remain an expression but spur accountability to bridge the gap between law and lived experiences. Kamche Menza for Sunday Express.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya.
Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health.
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
We've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about the viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good Morning Kenya, every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
Someone once told me that Mountain Kilimanjaro is the house of God, and the gods sent us 8 doctors to keep all of us safe.
Dr. Ma.
If he gets fired from AfroAid, will his reputation be
No, it won't. He'll go back to his original post.
Lemon's sister's getting married. I'm on my way to her wedding.
Right. Give the invitation, right?
Manka and Masanja gave it to him personally.
If anyone I haven't seen him.
Bajaji imeharibika. Nendeni wenyewe kwenye harusi. Tembeeni kilomita 2.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Express, and tonight, as we end the 16 days of activism, the question is, what are stakeholders within the community, or rather in the social strata, doing to ensure that one way or another we eradicate gender-based violence, given the statistics that have already been received is at least 34% of women and girls experience physical and sexual abuse. 13% have faced sexual violence at a point in their lives. And the question is, the numbers continue to increase even as we work at creating awareness. So is it time to think outside the box? Now, that particular story that has been prepared by Kamche Menza sets the set, or rather this conversation here tonight on Sunday Express, using art, for anti-GBV. Is it working? Now we are joined by none other than a visual artist by the name Raphael Seleti. Thank you very much for making time. And I have to say, your artwork is, quite compelling. They say art transcends age, genre, even borders. But the question is, Mr. Seleti, why did you use art? Why is your art themed around GBV?
Thank you so much. My name is Raphael Seleti. I'm a visual artist, and I love to, use art as a form of giving a voice, to social issues. And art for me is something that speaks, very loudly. It's something that's can directly, somebody can be intimate, with it visually. They can consume it, they can see what's happening. And it can be a very powerful way of, passing a message, right? Empowering and also educating, people, the public, everybody.
So you made a conscious decision, your art, to depict GBV. Now we have this particular piece, and I think it is quite emotive. It's very striking. So tell us, what was the thought process behind this particular piece, and what does it mean to you?
So this piece, I call it Roots of Autonomy.
Roots of Autonomy.
Roots of Autonomy. And so it's, at least from a visual perspective, it's very striking, right? And that's the good thing with art, is like it can immediately capture their attention.
Yes.
And it's a tree, right? But it's in the shape of a lady, a woman, and it's incubating a baby, a fetus. So this piece, the reason I did it is to basically around, you know, the life-giving power of a woman, right?
Yeah.
As a sacred and as a sacred, you know, duty. It's not something that's political. It's not something that's an opinion, but it's something that's sacred, something that is natural, a natural sacred duty, right? Yeah. And so when it comes, you know, to things like, you know, like abortion and such kind of things, it's not up to, you know, an external party, somebody, you know, to, you know, tell you, you know, this is how, you know, things should go about, you know, it's a natural thing. And I think, you know, it speaks to a lot of people because, it's, you know, there is a lot of like stigma about, you know, especially, you know, like, you know, there is a lot of pregnancies, and you'll find that a lot of, you know, young, you know, girls, they'll, you know, think, you know, I've gotten pregnant, and this is, it's been shown like it's a bad thing, you know, because, you know, they're young. But, you know, it has happened, and it's a natural thing, and it should be respected, right? And, you know, life is, you know, something that should not be debated, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Life is priceless.
Life is priceless.
So what other reactions have you gotten, you know, with your striking pieces, especially on gender-based violence? You have, that one is about pro-choice, pro-life. Then we have this. What are the reactions that you've gotten from, you know, displaying your artwork? Yes. So I've gotten a lot of positive reactions, I would say, because like this one, I call it Echoes of Silence. Echoes of Silence. Echoes of Silence. Yeah. And it's a lady, you know, holding her face. She's looking down. She looks distraught, traumatized. And then in the background, you can see there's like this kind of shadow silhouettes or figures of, you know, intimidating men people, you know, lurking, you know, behind her. And it's, you know, supposed to show, you know, the oppressors and these people, you know, generally who make, you know, ladies, you know, who the people like who are responsible for, you know, violence. And so like with my art, I realized that, you know, some of them, it will have like this emotional aspect to it. And, you know, somebody will look at it and they'll, you know, somebody say who has, you know, experienced sexual assault or like gender-based violence in general in any way or form. They'll, you know, relate with it. Relate, right? Sympathize, you know, empathize with this person. And also, it's like, you know, it gives a voice to you know, to something that, you know, maybe they've been holding silent, right? And it's powerful. And, you know, I've gotten people telling you like, wow, what inspired this? Because immediately they saw something that they read to, it spoke to them, right? All right. And yeah. All right. So what has been your general, you know, feel that you've gotten, especially from survivors and young people around your art, given that it is themed around, you know, something that we're keeping talking about it, but it seems as if there's no end at the end of the tunnel, that is gender-based violence? Yes. So actually there's a kind of a gap between, you know, just in art in general. It's not as a broad way of, you know, passing, like people are used to getting like a message, you know, passed across. And so what I found is that more like the interactions I've had with people is like they are actually, at first they're so fascinated. They're like, wow, so, you know, it's impressive that, you know, you can actually use art to paint, you know, something like this, something this deep, something this emotional. And it's for me, it's like I try to, you know, to show people that, you know, if, you know, you face this kind of problem, like art, you know, you can find a way, right? It does not have to be something vocal, yeah? But something, a way that, you know, you can use to
talk about it, right? To maybe discuss it, get it to somebody in a form. So for me, my art, it has kind of like given people an idea that I have, or the survivors, like, I can use
you can use
form,
that art as a platform to just let it.
As a platform for expression, right?
Right. So from the units, or rather the pieces that you have brought with you to studio,
yes,
ironically, the only masculine resemblance or participation is in this particular piece.
Yes.
Where clearly there's a lady at the front, and then there's the arms of a man. Clearly, tell me about this, because the question about gender-based violence has always been a gender issue, and the men seem to be more likely the perpetrators and not the victims.
Yes.
Explain that. And we all know that anyone is a candidate for gender-based violence, but women seem to be getting the short end of the stick.
Yes. So actually that painting and this one, it's kind of contrasting in a way, but they are showing, talking about the same message. This one is, there's this lady who is, she's smiling, right? And behind her, there's a figure of a man standing, and they're both flexing. And they are showing, like they're powerful. So this painting, I call it Powerful Together.
Powerful Together.
Powerful Together.
All right.
And so around the topic for gender-based violence, it's kind of should be, as I said, my work is to empower and to educate, right? And around this, like, as men, we have like the responsibility, right, to not bring down, ladies, to not make them feel less, right, but to make them, feel equal, to make them feel empowered, to make them feel safe. And they should, they should know that, we stand behind them, right?
Yeah, we stand behind them as men.
Yes, as men, right? Okay. Yes. Should not create this world where, we feel, they feel like, there's where like this alphas and, we have the power over them to dictate, what they do, what they feel.
Yeah.
But rather, we should, work, cohesively, work together, right? And just create an environment where everybody is, feel safe, everybody is happy, right?
Okay.
Yeah, protected,
so, together.
Together, we're stronger together.
We are stronger together, indeed, because there's been that conversation that men are lacking in the conversation around gender-based violence.
Yes.
So it's good to have that kind of word. But then art has always been something more elite, far removed from a majority of people. How are you bridging the agenda that you have to highlight gender-based violence and also opening up the space to more people? Because art, let's say, is a particular niche. Yeah, yes. You require a particular palette. It has to be, not everybody understands art. How are you breaking it down?
So actually, I think on that point, the reason why art feels like it's a very particular niche is like through my interactions, the exhibitions that I have previously, where, there were like schools, primary schools, secondary schools coming to, to view whatever is going on. What I've come to realize is that a lot of these students, a lot of schools do not offer art as a subject, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if they do, maybe some, like, it's in a very small capacity, but they do not offer art as a main subject, as something like a student can learn, right?
Well, under 844 system, there was art and craft. Right now under CBC, I think it's under creative arts. So it's a combination of music, art, and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might not have all the details on that, but through my interactions myself, is that because I've interacted with these kids directly, talk to them, like, do you have art? Do you learn? They're like, yeah, but we don't, they don't know what acrylic paint is. They don't know any sort of paint, right? Maybe they draw, right? But they don't really know art the way it should be. And art is a very powerful way of, I think, like, they should teach kids, like, art should be a form of expression.
Yes.
So from the moment, they're learning about art, it's not about just drawing. Because I think even what even adults would think is, like, when you're doing art, you're going to become a designer, you'll be drawing cars, designing tables, chairs, yeah.
Did you study art, or have you learned the works on time?
So Actually, like luckily for me, the system I've been in, the school I've been in from primary, they offered art, and it was very well done.
All right, so it gave you a background.
Yeah, a background.
So from where you sit, Leleti, why do you think art stands a better chance, you know, for advocacy against GBV? We have seen people do marches, you know, sign petition, but still the numbers are as high. Do you believe that art is an answer to this?
Yes, so I believe art is. There's a lot of ways that, you know, people can go into, because not everybody will be an artist, right? And not everybody might actually appreciate art, because, you know, some people, as I've said, they've not been exposed to it, right? But it's about time art actually got the spotlight as well, because art, it's everybody, right? Like, you have access to a pen, to a pencil, right? And, you know, when you're learning art, art is about expressing yourself, right? Also telling a story. You can be telling your story, you can be telling somebody's story, right? And art is a way that anybody can write down their emotion, you know. Art is a way that anybody can paint a message, right? And show it to the world and say, like, this is what's happening, and you can see it visually, right? So I think art, you know, and there's a lot of forms of art. For me, I'm a visual artist, right? But art is a way it can it's very sentimental, it's very emotional, it's striking emotional as well. And I think it's something that, you know, we should, like, as artists, right? And also just institutions, you know, organizations that, you know, deal with these sorts of issues, to explore this
incorporate art.
Incorporate art, yes.
So from an artist's point of view, what challenges maybe have you gone through addressing, you know, gender-based violence through your art?
So what I've experienced is that, okay, as much as like, you know, it's not a very like a lot of, you know, corporations, since they don't incorporate it, like a lot of people do not use art, you know, as a form of you know, expression. You'll find that it's not easy to just it's like to use it, right? To have like the platform to actually, you know, use the art as, you know, a way to pass a message, right? And a lot of people will not think of, let me go to an art exhibition, because, you know, to understand what gender-based violence is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
So there's that disjointed, you know, communication, or rather just art is far removed from gender-based violence. But then we want to bridge the gap. So if you're given an opportunity, you know, right now where you're seated, you know, to pick out stakeholders, either institutions or individuals you'd want to work with to create more awareness and advocacy on gender-based violence, who would be your top three?
So I think, okay, my top three would the Center for Reproductive Rights.
Yes.
That would be my number one. Actually had an exhibition with them. The second one, as an interesting question, I had actually, I would say maybe the United Nations, right?
Yes.
Because they deal with a lot of, you know, human rights, right?
Yes.
And the third, I think, the Wangari Maathai Foundation. Right?
NGOs.
The NGO Wangari Maathai Foundation, because Wangari Maathai is also actually, let's say, an inspiration for me, because her work, one of her main focuses was women's rights and children, right? You know, teaching children, you know, to be leaders, and women to rise up and, you know, speak for themselves. And I think those three organizations, if I had like an opportunity to, you know, to work with them.
Those are the people you'd want to work with.
Yeah.
So what do your fans expect of you in the next maybe medium term or short term? Maybe have your own exhibition somewhere, Leleti?
Yes, Seleti. So ideally, yes, I would love to have an exhibition. In fact, that's what I really, you know, want to, is to have like exhibitions, right? Where, you know, like people can come and interact, right? Give artists, you know, a platform to come and showcase, and so that people can see what art is all about, And so the exhibitions, that's what I really, I would really want to have that, yes.
So as we bring this to a close, what message would you send across to survivors of gender-based violence tonight, given that you are pushing the narrative and supporting so that these people get the requisite support that they require?
Yes, so I think what I would tell, the survivors is to remember that their voice will never be taken away, right? They have, the right to voice, right? And they should, always, seek for the organizations that will help them, right? To combat, these issues they're facing, right? I would also, urge them to, find their voice, right? Find a voice, find a way. Do not let, somebody silence you forever, right? Find your voice, get this issue out there, right? Because I think you need to, if you don't face it head on, right, you'll find that, you'll be suppressed and you're just not able, you won't be able to come out and to ever, heal from this thing, It will always be lingering on you, holding you back. You will not make progress, right? Just find a way, find a voice, find people that can, help you, talk about it, and that way, you can find a way to move forward. Yeah.
All right. Very well said. Tonight we have been having a conversation with visual artist that is none other than Raphael Seleti there, who's brought some remarkable pieces here in studio. He has chose to use his art to create more awareness and advocacy in matters gender-based violence, as will culminate the 16 days of activism there, amid growing concern on the number of cases of gender-based violence that keep on getting reported. And worse so, those who are in this particular value chain say that silence, as depicted here, is what is robbing the survivors of justice. So find a voice, as you said, Seleti, find a voice, get a platform, speak about it. No one can take that from you. And men are not left behind in this conversation when it comes to gender-based violence. And as you can see right here, through this particular piece, I think it was, we do better, we worked.
We're stronger together.
We are stronger together. On that note, that brings us up to our conversation on gender-based violence. On this side of studio, I'll be ushering in my colleague on the sports unit, that is Bernard, to take us through what has been making headlines in the last 12 hours. And maybe just chime in, Bernard, when you walked into the studio and you saw the pieces here, which one was most striking and what did that make you feel as you start off sports?
I think the one that was just Anna there, the one that's in between the two of you, the one that you're holding moments ago, and actually I had to ask him, because first I saw the fire, then I saw the womb and I saw the kid, and it was, I'll say that it was compelling. Maybe it took me to the times when I've been reading about Michelangelo, and maybe the Tower of David in Florence and all that. But it's a powerful tool, and it's a good thing that he chose to use art to communicate and pass the message. Powerful for the visual artist. Anyway, let's get on to sports now. We begin with what's happening in Luanda, Angola, where Kenya added another medal at the ongoing Africa Youth Games in Luanda, Angola, after junior golfer Belinda Wanjiru secured a silver medal in the girls category. Now Wanjiru posted a steady performance across the 3 rounds, carding 78 in the opening round before improving with scores of 76 and 77 to finish on a total of 231. The gold medal went to Zimbabwe's Miriam Masia, who dominated the field with 214 strokes, with Nigeria's Josephine Clemmer claiming the bronze. In the boys' golf competition, Kenya narrowly missed out on a podium finish after Sevisoni was placed 4th. Meanwhile, Kenya's beach volleyball teams, both men and women, also finished in 4th place, just outside the medal positions. With these results, Kenya's overall medal count at the Africa Games now stands at 11. That's 4 gold, 3 silver, and 4 bronze.
We are playing has been good. The competition has been exciting, fun. I got to compete alongside a friend of mine from Zimbabwe, Miriam. She put on a very good fight, but I think I tried my best. The conditions are very different from the ones we have back home in Kenya.
The competition has been a great experience. I'm very grateful to everyone that made this happen. Yeah, finishing fourth is quite tough because just missed out on the medals. But at least this tournament I had lots of positives come out. I played 2 good rounds of golf.
Elsewhere, badminton, Kenya is set to name the top 32 players across 4 categories who will be invited to national trials following the conclusion of the 2-day national badminton ranking tournament held here in Nairobi. Now the trials will be used to select 20 players who will form the national team for the All-Africa Games scheduled February next year in Botswana. According to the Federation President, Peter Mushiri, the national trials will take place on the 10th of next month, with players competing in a round-robin format as they battle for places on the continental team. The national badminton ranking tournament featured 4 categories. That's men's singles, men's doubles, ladies singles, as well as the doubles in the women's category.
It's actually a national ranking tournament, meaning we want to get the best of the best and to know who is the first and who is the last in different categories, in singles, in doubles, and it involves both men and women.
Next year internationally, targeting to do some tournaments, starting with the All-African Championships.
From badminton to netball now, where Kenya women's netball team finished their Africa Netball Cup campaign on a high, edging Botswana 50-40 to secure 5th place in a closely contested playoff on Sunday afternoon. Meanwhile, the Kenya men's team lost 46-41 to reigning champion South Africa in the semi-finals.
Do they, at the end of the tournament?
The encounter began at a lively pace with both sides trading goals in an evenly matched first quarter. Botswana showed early intent through sharp passing and disciplined defense, keeping Kenya within reach and trailing by just a few goals at the fast break. Kenya, however, raised the intensity in the second quarter, improved ball movement and clinical shooting, allowing them to open up a small but crucial lead heading into halftime.
I remember that.
Botswana fought hard to stay in contention, but missed opportunities and attack proved costly. After the break, Kenya took firm control of the match. Their mid-court dominance disrupted Botswana's rhythm, while strong defensive pressure forced turnovers that were quickly converted into goals. The 50-40 victory sealed 5th place for Kenya in the tournament, capping off a determined campaign. Meanwhile, Kenya men's team lost in the semi-finals to reigning champions South Africa.
The flair from Eugene.
Frederick Mwoki for Sunday Express.
And to volleyball now, where Kenya Prisons defeated Kenya Defence Forces by 3 straight sets, 25-17, 26-24, 25-14 in the last match of the first leg of the Kenya Volleyball Federation Women's National League at the Nyayo National Gymnasium. Prisons head on Saturday surrendered a 2-set lead to fall to defending champions Kenya Pipeline by 3 sets to 2. The Prisons team led from the first whistle in the first set and dominated in all departments to bag the set, but KDF came back strong in the second set, giving as much as they took, but they failed to contain the pressure when it mattered the most to narrowly lose the set. KDF gave little resistance in the third set as Prisons strolled to the win. Meanwhile, Kenya Army search for a first win continues after they succumbed to Post Bank by 3 straight sets. And to football now, where Ian Simiyu scored a brace as Tusk FC claimed a 2-0 win over Sofapaka in a Football Kenya Federation FKF Premier League match played today at Kasarani Annex. The win puts the Brewers in the second position on the standings with 21 points after playing 13 matches in the campaign. Meanwhile, Sofapaka remains on the second last position on the log with 12 points in 13 matches, having won 3, drew 3 and lost 7. Finally, Manchester City kept pace in the Premier League title race with a commanding 3-0 victory over Crystal Palace. The result, of course, marks a 4th successive